Whether fronting for band leaders Harry James and Tommy Dorsey in the 30s and 40s, or on his own as a hugely successful solo artist, Sinatra put his indelible stamp on a song.
Life's a marvelous thing.
You've got to be on the ball from the minute you step out into that spotlight. You've got to know exactly what you're doing every second on that stage. Otherwise, the act goes right into the bathroom.
Except for a period in the early 1950s when his record sales fell off and throat problems threatened to silence him, Sinatra's recordings sold millions of copies.
Start spreading the news. I am leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York.
You make it here, you're a hit wherever you go. I don't care where you go. Direct from New York, so-and-so, here he comes, and you know you're a hit.
It's up to you.
The City That Never Sleeps gave Sinatra just one of his signature songs. Among his other best-known tunes were All the Way, Witchcraft, Love and Marriage, Strangers in the Night, September of My Years, and a duet with his daughter Nancy, Something Stupid. Among his many honors were 9 Grammy Awards, the most recent one in 1996 for Duets 2, the second in a series of CDs pairing him with contemporary artists like Bono of U2 and Gloria Estefan. Sinatra prevailed through trend after trend in pop music, and he proved his father wrong, the father who long ago told him singing is for sissies.
With any luck, then I suppose the music never ends.
Now stay with CNN throughout the day for much more on the death and passing of Frank Sinatra.
Talkback Live comes your way less than 3 hours from now at 3 Eastern. Showbiz has a 1-hour special beginning at 5:30 Eastern.
At 9 Eastern, CNN's Larry King will focus on the life of Frank Sinatra. Then at 10 p.m., join us for the 1-hour special report, Sinatra, the Voice.
Did you know that she gets hungry? She loves the theater, and she never jumps in here late. She'd never bother if someone she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp.
So as he put into his music, he openly consorted with members of the mob, and his affair with screen siren Ava Gardner led to the breakup of his first marriage to Nancy. In the 1960s, Frank had a brief but headline-making marriage to waifish actress Mia Farrow. But through it all, the chairman of the board remained a symbol of what was cool. He and his Rat Pack buddies made several films together, and their live performances were legendary.
Day after tomorrow, gentlemen, we'll be in Las Vegas.
Hey, baby, what's your hurry?
In recent years, poor health had kept him out of the public spotlight he so loved. For Sinatra, entertaining was like breathing, and he continued to perform and even win Grammy Awards right into his 80s. His wife, Barbara, was at his bedside when he passed away. A private funeral is planned. Frank Sinatra was 82 years old. Quite an age when you consider that this man really did fill his life with wine, women, and song, and liberal doses of each. He was one of a kind. And as much as he's been imitated by everyone from Harry Connick Jr. to his own son, Frank Jr., there was only one, and will only ever be, one Frank Sinatra. He will be missed and remembered by millions around the world.
Mr. Bacon.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, tell us, was the private Frank Sinatra at all different from the persona the world saw?
Well, Frank in person was a very charming, affable guy with a great sense of humor. You know, geez, he was terrific. I was with him in Monte Carlo in 1958 when he did perform for Princess Grace's first gala over there. And there was a pickup band from Paris, none of whom could speak English, and he rehearsed with them for 10 minutes, and it was the greatest show of all the shows I've ever seen with Sinatra. And I've seen over 1,000. So, and then we had a big party up in his suite in the Hotel de Paris in Monte Carlo, and of course a lot of Jack Daniels was consumed. In fact, Frank got on the plane with, I guess maybe a half dozen or a dozen cases of Jack Daniels, because in 1958 it was very hard to get in Europe. And I think his excess baggage charge was more than his fare. And
well, you know, I really appreciate your sharing the real story of who he was, because people sort of have that impression of him anyway. Did you or he know how big he would become?
Did I know how big he would become?
Yes.
Well, the first time I ever saw him was in 1939 at the college into the Hotel Sherman, and he was singing with Harry James' band. This was his beginning year in show business. And the minute he started singing, and I even remember the song, it was All or Nothing at All. The minute he started singing, every girl on that dance floor left her partner and huddled her around the bandstand, you know, swooning and sighing. So even back there in 1939, the guy had it. You knew he was going to be very, very big. Well, he always had that voice. The voice is sensational.
And the charm. When I was growing up, we thought that the Rat Pack was so cool and so hip. How close was he to the members of the Rat Pack?
Well, first of all, Frank never liked that word Rat Pack for those guys. He always called it his clan. The only Rat Pack in Frank's mind was Bogey's Rat Pack, the Holmby Hills Rat Pack, of which he was a member, and so was I. But yeah, he was the coolest member of that group, Sammy Davis and Dean Martin and all those. Yeah, and he was the biggest swinger among them too. Dean Martin, contrary to his public image, was a family man that liked to stay home and watch television all night. And Frank spilled more than Dean drank.
You are really letting us in on some secrets. We thank you so much, James Bacon, for joining us. James Bacon, former Hollywood columnist and longtime friend of Frank Sinatra, sharing his memories with us here on Headline News today. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Which he developed from watching one of the Dorseys, I believe, and just a personality that he injected into every song. I think he was the pop artist of the century, really.
Of the century, okay. Thanks, Irene. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Hi, Doreen. Hi, is Doreen on the line? You've seen Frank Sinatra in concert. Tell us about that.
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, he came to Toronto, and he played at the Lowe's Theatre with Tommy Dorsey, and that was on a Friday, and then on a Saturday he went to the Brant Inn, and he was with Dorsey, and I was in the front row there again, and then from there he went to Kleinhans Music Hall, and I was there again in the front row, and Sinatra had a way of pushing the mic forward and bringing it back before he started to sing, and he looked down and saw me and he said, "Hey, chick, 3 nights in a row." Great.
Hey, chick.
He was a wonderful, wonderful singer.
He really had a beautiful voice.
And my favorite song was "I Bought You Violets for Your Furs," and nobody will remember that. That's an old one.
All right, thanks.
I had a good cry this morning.
Oh, thanks for the call, Doreen.
Okay,
all
dear.
All the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Glennis?
Yes.
Welcome to Talkback Toronto. What do you think it was about Frank Sinatra? What was his magic?
Well, I think he wasn't only a singer, but he was an entertainer. like Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. You could go get dressed up and go to their shows and lean back and have a wonderful night. They made you laugh, and they also sang beautiful music. You could always understand every single word they said, which I find hard sometimes.
Today, yes.
Yes.
I've heard that complaint in the past. Thanks, Glennis. Thanks for the call.
Music will certainly live on. Thanks for your calls today. That is Talkback Toronto for today. Thank you all for calling in.